I don't
So,
want to with
okay.
you.
Okay, we have uh, tools in place. We have faculties of consciousness to activate. We have to learn how to hold the violin, how to hold the bow. We have to know how to read the notes, how to combine our breath, how to press and everything. All these are different faculties. We want to see how they work. So the idea was how we put in the center the idea of whatever topic we want to see from different points of view. We are not viewing them from different faculties of consciousness. We are viewing them from different approaches to knowledge. And this is a very different thing. Behind these approaches to knowledge, there are faculties. They are there, but they are all involved. They're involved all, but in a particular formation. So to say, if sight is there, of course it will drag word into it. But how can you explain sight if you don't use word or mind, or if you don't hear the word? Of course, all of them are there. But predominantly, the sight is dominating. It is making its entry, its claim. That's why we recognize it as such. We can feel that difference. We can feel that the sight is dominating. And we can say, we can all agree. Is it not so? Or if I will be speaking today on the word, how, for example, examine the international zone and the concept of international zone and this university from the point of view of linguistics, from the point of view of expression of consciousness. Oops. It's no more the vision. No, it's not the vision. It's not that vision. It's not the philosophy. It's not an overview. It's not the body. Huh. And what is it? It is something else. It is felt differently. It is located differently in the body. It is located differently in consciousness. It has particular flavor. It has a particular force, which is different from the overview, from psychological treatment, from the body, from the embodiment. It is different from artistic approach. It is different even from hearing, because it is expressing the subjective need, the intention. That very expression is the word. Of course, it is everywhere. Of course, it is interwoven into tapestry of all the faculties, but still, it has its own self-identity. And that's what we are looking for. We are looking to clarify and to find that particular movement of consciousness. I was trying to be articulate now. So if we take this word particular from the point of view of the linguistic development, what would be the concept of international zone? Look at this, what is written here beautifully by Natalia. What is word representing? Language, literature, poetry, fairy tales, and she added very cleverly, national idea and intention. Why national idea? She added there, and this is already showing me that she is aware of Gapser and Gapserian thought. There are many thoughts on the word. I want to bring all those dimensions of learning. I want to bring Gapser in. I want to bring Humboldt in. Humboldt Wilhelm, who first clarified the inner form of language in European thought, of course, because we have Sanskrit linguistics and philosophy of language, which clarified the inner form of language long before Humboldt. I want to bring all those dimensions into this discussion. I want to bring Saussure. I want to bring the Bhartrihari in. Structuralism, post-structuralism, phenomenology, everything comes in together with this idea of the word. Because we will now distinguish how the word is functioning within our consciousness. What is this approach through the word? and look how different it is, because when I'm talking about it, I already feel how I take a very narrow approach. I am narrowing it down to a particular stream of consciousness. All my mind, vital force, my sight, my hearing are concentrated and focused in a different way than they would be if I would be speaking philosophically. This feeling which I am generating is our target. I want us to feel the difference, not only to see, but also to experience and to feel. Unless we will be objecting to anybody's presentation, the better it will be. We have to really gain out of it something, instead of saying no. There is no word no from now on, only yes. Everybody has his approach, and we have to understand it. And that is our exercise. Okay? No is not for us anymore an option, at least for me. I want to know. I don't want not to know. I'm not interested of not knowing. All right, language. What would be the linguistic approach to this concept of the university, what Mother wanted to create? What is interesting that national soul, from there I wanted to start, but I will start with how Sri Aurobindo treats the faculty of the word in his Savitri. Just look at this. I'm just quoting from different places from Savitri. I just prepared this for ourselves to see. For even her gulfs were secrecies of light. At once she was the stillness and the word. In her he found a vastness like his own, his high, warm, subtle ether he refound and moved in her as in his natural home. In her he met his own eternity. She is untrembling virgin fire, the beautiful body of incarnate word. This is the Divine Mother. If we look at the word as the incarnation of the divine word, incarnate word with capital W, then we understand this is the intention. Intention. At once she was the stillness and the word. Sorry, word disappeared. A work she had to do, a word to speak, writing the unfinished story of her soul in thoughts and actions graved in nature's book. A word is to write the unfinished story of the soul in thoughts and actions. Wow. So the word has such a prominent position. She brings the word to write unfinished story of the soul in thoughts and actions. So thoughts and actions are secondary to the word. This is the Vedic profound vision, that the word itself manifests mind. It is the power to manifest the hidden names, the unknown names from the higher plane, the unknown ideas, to bring them, to form them, to shape them, to give them birth, to give them form. This is what the word is doing. So, to write the unfinished story of the soul in thoughts and actions which are graved in nature's book. The word is to create the thoughts and actions inherent in nature of mind, life, and body. It is that revealing power, that Pashyanti Vak of Abhinavagupta, whom I also want to bring in, and how the word is actually manifesting everything, our thoughts, our feelings, our actions. We are not acting without the word. Nothing acts here in this world without the word. The word is that intention which breaks through, which comes to us, and we are urged to move, to do something. Suddenly I feel like going and making coffee, or I feel like going out and walking, or I feel like traveling, I feel like reading. Where that feel like comes from? It comes from the hidden intention of the word. Abhinavagupta explains it very beautifully, and I already referred to it many times, that when I go to the village, if this is Mahapashyanti, I have to do many things. I have to lock my house, switch off light, buy bus ticket, feed the animals before I leave, because I go to some other village. Now, so I have to do many, many other actions for this action to take place. And he says this Mahapashyanti, to go to the village, is also a smaller Pashyanti for the greater Mahapashyanti which stands behind, which we do not see and don't understand. We don't understand that bigger presumption which is behind it, because we are not really seeing it. We are not comprehending. And behind that bigger one, I'm going to the village for some reason, to get something because of something else which I am not even aware now, cut off in time and space. But it is there already acting upon me. And I think that I'm just going to the village. I do not see that it goes beyond that need. It goes into vaster need. And that vaster goes into vaster need, and all those greater and greater Pashyantis come to the Lord Shiva, Sada Shiva, from that plane, all the actions from Paravak are actually brought down in smaller streams in time and space. So can you imagine there's a reservoir of the whole vision from which these streams come in time and space, in different places, in different times, and activate different activities, different words, different thoughts, because they are gathering up something which is envisioned in the higher plane. They are acting upon us because it is decided there. And this is the word, that beautiful body of incarnate word, of the divine force, of Chit Shakti. Now, just after touching upon that, to have an idea what the word is in terms of Vedic and Sri Aurobindo's view, if we apply this kind of vision to the national, to this international zone, national consciousness is one part of it. It is through the national consciousness, as Sri Aurobindo says, that the unity can be gained. The ideal of human unity, in his book, he speaks about it, that there are unities already, and these are nations. These are real unities. These are psychological unities, which psychologically unite people. They are not based on money or economy or politics, not even on the religious ground. They are not following the religions, people united. They are following something more intimate, something truer than religions can give. And that is the soul, the factor of the soul. And he speaks about this. And I am very glad that she put this national idea and intentions here at the last point. So coming back to what Sri Aurobindo says on it, I want you to see it, because it explains quite, oops, I was preparing it, but I lost it for a second. And I will finish now in a minute. It will be not long, because I have to take 15 minutes only, because otherwise it becomes very difficult. I have many more things prepared, but most probably I will not be able to touch upon all of these things. Now, in the chapter on, I have a much better file with all the quotations of Sri Aurobindo in the Mother on International Zone, and I will send you this file afterwards. Here, in the chapter on from the ideals of human unity, Sri Aurobindo speaks about nation, soul. And this chapter is very famous. It is Nation and Empire, Real and Political Unities. So here he will say something very interesting. Now, this paragraph is very useful to read. It will give us a sense what nations are about. According to Gebser, the word is manifesting the myth. Myth in a particular form which represents a soul, a psychic being. And this myth, it is a common myth for people, their history, their wording of this myth, and their relation of this myth to their particular land creates nation. That's why the word and culture and history come together and create this unity of nation. Now look what Sri Aurobindo says. This is important for us to read at least once. Thus, the nation is a persistent psychological unit which nature has been busy developing throughout the world in the most various forms and educating into physical and political unity. Political unity is not the essential factor. It may not yet be realized, and yet the nation persists and moves inevitably towards its realization. It may be destroyed, and yet the nation persists. So the country can be destroyed, colonized, divided, but nation still persists and travails and suffers, but refuses to be annihilated. In former times, the nation was not always a real and vital unit. And this is also very important. In the previous times, before in the history, nations were not there. The tribe, the clan, the commune, the regional people were the living groups, but not nations. Those unities, which in their attempt at national evolution destroyed these older living groups without arriving at vital nationhood, disappeared once the artificial or political unit was broken. So there could be tribes, but they are broken and they are disappearing. There is nothing left of them. But now the nation stands as the one living group unit of humanity into which all other must merge, or to which they must become subservient. Even old persistent race unities and cultural unities are powerless against it. Even a race, consideration of race, Negro race, doesn't work. White race against race, it's not the point. But now the nation stands as the one living group unit of humanity into which all other, so even old persistent race unities and cultural unities are powerless against it. And he gives many examples. I'm not going through examples. I'm skipping it for the sake of time, but I'm coming to this. The nation in modern times is practically indestructible unless it dies from within. Poland, torn asunder and crushed under the heel of three powerful empires, ceased to exist. There was no Poland. The Polish nation survived and is once more reconstituted, and so on and so forth. All modern attempts to destroy by force or break up a nation are foolish and futile, because they ignore this law of the natural evolution. Empires are still perishable political units. The nation is immortal. And so it will remain until the greater living unit can be found, into which the nation idea can merge in obedience to a superior attraction. Can you imagine such a projection of the supramental creation when nations are merging into a bigger unit by themselves happily? But without them, this bigger unit is not possible. And this is his message of the ideal of human unity, that without this development of national culture, of the word, again, word coming back to it, there would be no possibility for us to have a proper unity, human unity. So this is basically my message. And of course, there are beautiful, whom I would like to mention here, just that maybe I will be speaking again next round, and I will be speaking on these two, on Humboldt and Potebnia. I want to mention these two great scholars who dealt with the word. So next time I will be more scientific. Now it's only an idea. Okay? So here we are. Now, if we move into another dimension of presentation of this, you will see completely different picture. You will not only see, you will feel, you will realize that there are different approaches to knowledge. Unfortunately, I can't give you all of them. I would love to now shift. After this one, once this is established, and shift is becoming so good, maybe somebody will try to do shift into the seeing. Would you like to try to do? How it is from the point of view of the sight, from the point of view of, you know, what is written here: national ornament, architecture, painting, sculpture, national philosophy, all this, what it could be, you know, philosophy, overview of this idea of the international zone, why it is there needed, why all those elements in which we will learn about ourselves in different ways is needed. It's, first of all, it is needed that all the nations will participate, as Roth said. It is also overseeing idea. It's a seeing idea, not speaking, not for linguistic idea. It's a rather philosophical approach to knowledge, yeah? That all will participate, all will bring their resources, all will bring their materials, their visionary, their architecture, their paintings, their philosophies. They have different philosophies. Every nation has a particular philosophy, as every nation has a particular inner form of language, about which I would like to speak next time. This inner form of language creates a particular psychology of a nation, which are all different because of that language. And language has outer and inner form. Outer form is not so important, but important. But inner form creates a worldview, as Humboldt says. It is determining the language and linguistic reality. So here we come closer to the philosophical part.
Okay, I can try.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
I have to close my eyes when I speak. I have to see in. I was also thinking about this. How come we are nations? How come the shape of each country is so different and so... Why it's only 5 million in Norway and still we're a nation? 80 million in Germany and they are a nation. So I have to see my own nation first, so to say, to bring it with me to the international zone in Auroville. When I connect to my nation's soul, in my vision, I see it in my vision. I see where it is. And I have been thinking, why is it there? My nation's soul is in the dome in Trondheim. It hangs there, protected by a Christian, or how to say, Jesus view on life. It has been growing, so to say, as Norway gathered its people, were able to communicate, build roads, so we could travel, boats on the sea, so we could go far, could travel the coast. We traveled everywhere, but we always came back to Norway. And we always gravitated, so to say, towards this center of Norway, where the great kings were born and lived, where the culture was rich. We grew within this nature, with these challenges and with these possibilities of development as a group, with the sea close to us, this long coast, these high mountains, everything very, very barren in many ways, but so rich with the nature's expressions. We learn to live with this nature and its expressions in such a way that nature became a very significant part of life. Up to this day, we still have the view on nature as a very close to us, important to us, and we love it. We love our nation, we love our country. And we have always had to stick together to survive. Now we also stick together to protect our togetherness. We don't want to be damaged on this or disturbed. We want to keep this togetherness. It is strong. When you go abroad, you meet a Norwegian, you meet a sister or a brother. And you feel the strength of your national identity bringing you together. You trust the other person because of his nationality. And you give freely. Trying to bring this view on nation to international zone of Auroville. I bring trust, I bring understanding, I bring a belonging, I will bring a whole concept of life and everything with me as a universe in itself. It is a partial universe. Bring with me. I stop there.
Mm. Oh, thank you. Yeah, there was a vision there of your nation. To feel, I could see the mountains and the shore and the ocean, and this, very interesting feeling. But how it relates to the concept of the international zone, why it is important this piece of land to be there philosophically, because it is a real thing. Yeah? It is a real vision of the Mother Earth. It is the part of the Mother Earth where people connected to the Mother Earth in a particular form of culture and nation and relations. They named all the trees and all the grass and all the flowers in their own way. They have a relations through consciousness with land, with all the elements of land. For thousands of years they developed. And you see, I'm shifting to the word. You can feel that I'm already in the word. I'm already naming the so interesting that I can feel that I shift in myself. So this feeling of shift from vision to the word within myself, is that what we want to discover? We want to discover that we are doing these shifts. We are learning something about international zone, but it is not, it is a tool for us to learn about our consciousness, how it works. There can be more said about it, many more interesting things about philosophy and vision, of course, in general, in painting and sculpture and architecture, so on. And philosophy, especially philosophy of life. You mentioned this is Christian, but there was before Christian, there were Vikings, and they didn't go anywhere. They're still there, standing behind Christianity. They make that Christianity very different Christianity. They're determining it and making it very different philosophy of nation.
And now you speak from the psychological point of view.
Yeah.
No, I think historical point of view.
Historical, psychological, and so on.
I have one question. If, for example, I have a vision also, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and if I would like to describe it, like in words, what I see, like Steve has done right now, this will be the seeing approach.
Mm-hmm.
If I will describe my vision, what is it in details? I will use also word and language. But if I will describe it like a story, or like, for example, what is my national, what my people look like, what is nature in our country, what is this relationship between the people and the country, and I can describe some ornaments or something like this. Is the seeing approach?
Yes, it is. You will see it. Yeah?
And I will communicate my images to you through language.
Yes.
But I will describe it. I will not say about what is my feeling in it, what is my psychological feeling. It's
you
not
will
an
also
approach of
describe
seeing.
You also see
but
the feeling.
But you see, when I just express myself, what I am in this nation, I think it's another approach. It's psychological approach.
In a way, yes.
But if I would describe without this identification, but like what I see, like the object, this will be the seeing approach, isn't it?
In a way, seeing approach, if you look at it, it is how things, what is the philosophy of life? Yes. of this particular approach. We are discussing one topic. We deviated from the topic where it was the concept of the international zone. Yeah? We went into the nations because it was natural for us to levitate towards that. But it is good because still we have the difference in approach. We can feel that shift, and in that sense we are aiming at. But we lost the subject. The subject was the concept of international zone. Can you really give the philosophical approach to it, overview of it? Yeah? I was giving a linguistic approach. Yeah? Can you see it as a philosophy? What is philosophy behind it? What is the vision of this enterprise, of this concept? Why it is really there from the point of view of philosophy? What deep philosophy is behind it?
I stopped in a way because you shift from your own nation, so to say, on what you're bringing with you, because it's a key, kind of a key to what this international zone is meant to be.
It's beautiful. What you said, it is a very valuable vision of the land and of the people and their philosophy, what is to be brought in by all the nations. Now, look into the concept of that. Now, you can continue one step forward with these kind of visions. What would be the overall vision? Why do we need this overall vision?
As you said, there is something bringing us together. And this we have to, as we created a nation, we have also to find this over this keeping everything together. We have to, I see it the same way as the nation is created in one way, seen from the building from below. There is also an opening from above, which is helping to draw us towards itself. We also, I see these pavilions expressing what they represent. All of them. I see possibilities, a huge amount of possibilities of development, which we don't have as individual nations. I see this coming together. I can walk from each pavilion, from one to the next, and learn and open myself as an individual and become this. Or a pavilion.
Very nice.
So
when you
the
say
vision is very...
I see, it's good to say when you speak about seeing. I see, and this already tunes us into seeing. Yeah? And we all start to see, and this is a very particular approach to knowledge. I see. Yeah? It's very close to us. Yeah? Seeing, closer than speak. Yeah. I say the truth. I see. How all the new developments coming together. There is very philosophical, very important message which was here given by Sri Aurobindo, which I just read to you. And this is it. This is the philosophy of it. And so it will remain until the great living unit can be found. We are looking for the great living unit into which the nation idea can merge in obeisance to superior attraction. This is the overall philosophy of international zone.
You see many Shirabinda quotations are about philosophy. And if we can read the human cycle, it is also about philosophical approach to knowledge. How things were developed, how nations were created. It is also like a vision, like a philosophical approach. It's for me. I don't know, maybe it's not right.
Yeah, many, definitely. He oversees things, definitely. And still he looks at things in a different, we have to be very precise. We are using now we are formulating the seeing approach towards the concept of the international zone in our will. So there is a philosophy behind the human unity is the philosophy. It has to be realized in one way. This is the overseeing factor. When all the selves, all the mosaics of different nations, different countries come together, bringing all what they can offer. And
I have a question right now, but we spoke about national idea and the idea, for example, of international zone. And if we, the human unity, it's this idea, but is it a philosophical approach or linguistic one?
national idea. You put national consciousness, actually it should be international zone inside. But if
it was an example. It was an example. How can we deal with our national consciousness?
Yes, if we take national consciousness, we can also do it through what we did now. It was more national consciousness than the concept of international zone. Maybe I'm doing it wrong now, pulling us into concept of international zone. But if we could overview national consciousness from these particular different approaches, it would be more effective, I think.
But the question was, is it you say that this philosophical approach is all about this idea of human unity, but the human unity is this main intention, main idea of this thing. So what is the difference between philosophical approach and the linguistical approach in this way?
Right. It is philosophical approach which oversees all the selves coming together in one particular bigger self. Yeah, it's like a mosaic, a picture or something. The linguistic would be the impulse, the intention to see that mosaic coming together.
Okay.
I can see them, I can feel them in myself like this. The impulsion comes somewhere from here. It's like a central part of the heart. The overseeing factor comes from here somewhere. I can feel them. One is here, and shoulders and everything, and also my jaws covered. But the impulse of the word is generated within this, between the heart and the tongue, somewhere here.
It happens before this scene.
Yes, it happens before.
That's why it's very important to understand this. It makes us see it.
Right, that's how he explains it actually in Savitri, yes.
Mm-hmm.
She is the word, the incarnate word, bringing and, writing this story, unfinished story of the soul in thoughts and actions. So all these thoughts, actions, they will come, they will follow this impulse. And what the soul envisions is made the world. You remember this, the beautiful phrase from Savitri. And what the soul envisions is made the world. So the soul envisions, it is exactly envisions in terms of a higher vision, is made the world, but that vision is brought as an impulse or the word to us, for us to see. So the vision is somewhere there, and the vision is recreated here, and the word is a mediator.
Mm-hmm.
I got a vision. I got a vision from this. And it's an interesting thought. and it's an interesting seeing. I suddenly saw that these pavilions, they express their nation. The soul expresses what the soul growing in this nation represents. It shows us everything it knows about itself. And I studied once the Indian culture, expression of the Indian culture compared to the Norwegian one. And it was a big discovery, because the Indian culture, everything is cultural in India. It has such a rich expression. But when you came to Norwegian sites, there was a few buildings and a few cloth and hardly anything else in the cultural expression, as we express ourselves on the website, at least. Very poor compared to the Indian. But I suddenly saw that there is not only this outer expression of the soul, there is more to it, which is not in buildings or cloth. It is something else also, which has to be expressed. And that's the way you are. As a human being, you are walking nation representation. And so the pavilion is not about only these buildings, it's about the people there. And how your soul, which is ready to merge with another soul, is coming close to each other and then fixing itself together like this, like molecules. They fix themselves together, and then other influence come and they shift position, these molecules. And it's like this is going on when now these we travel all over the world, and our souls are meeting and joining a little, and then we are leaving again for somewhere else. This unity, the soul level, so to say, it's not a constant. It is kind of fluctuating. But in Oroville, all these nations are there in the same place. They stay there, and you live there, and you walk around with it. You don't need to travel thousands of miles to meet another nation. And in between all these pavilions, I see soul growing, hanging there. Now it's kind of in the air, like a you don't see it really, but it's still there, ready to start to soak up this unity we create in Oroville, as if the soul is hanging over the international zone, soaking up into itself the gold we produce from the interaction and from the real truth of the unity which we reveal in our connections. What we see, what we hear, what we think, what we feel, when we are in this international zone, what is true will be soaked up into this unity soul of Oroville. Radiating and spreading
very
the
beautiful.
more
Unity soul of Oroville. It's very beautiful image. It's I was last time we were in Oroville. I have this. What is the Orovillian soul? It was very interesting for me to be in touch with it. And your image is very beautiful. It's a soul of unity. So beautiful, so radiant. Very nice. Thank you, Siv.
the supramental force which has descended is already preparing a set next stage, for this unity of nations to come to find their place in a higher synthesis. And that is the demand. And that is the unity soul of our will. It can manifest, of course. Unity, these pavilions were envisioned like the university, where we could learn about the psychological or psychic aspects of different nations. They would give us the varieties of things which we cannot get from the mind or philosophy or it has to be a living embodiment of the piece of land. It's like the urn in the middle of Auroville with all the soil from the world. There is the whole world is in the campus, where you can shift from one to another with this kind of perspective of unity among the different nations. And it creates a field of, as Mother says in this long passage, the field for peace in the future. Then the nations should stop fighting. And because there are forces which want to fight, vital forces, and they make man fight. Really, man doesn't want to fight, but it makes them fight. It is stronger than man. And so much weaponry was created. Now it has to be used because these forces behind this weaponry are activated. That's why we have these wars, endless wars.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I need to go.
Right. And Latsa, would you like to make one more overview?
Thank you very much for all of you.
Yeah. See ya.
No, it was nice
Thank
seeing
you,
you.
Natalia. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
No, you don't want to take some... you can take either body or hearing. Music, song, musical approach to in this concept. What would you think would be that?
Listen, I like you all, I really do. And I feel that you do well what you do. But I am excluded from the whole thing. And there is a reason for it, which Natalia described last time very clearly. And it is not possible to talk about that, what you do. You do it. And within that doing, you get your information and you get your stuff. And that's why I cannot be part of this on Zoom, because it just doesn't make sense. I would have to take you by the hand and make you experience that what I experience. And that's what I would love to do. And that's why in the beginning of this whole story, I said that what I said, it was not meant against you. And if I say I don't understand it, it is I don't understand my position within the whole thing. Because it is true. It is true. I cannot make you see things that you have to experience. It is a natural fact, And it goes about embodiment. And you are right. And I don't want to oppose all that you are doing. I was not meaning to oppose you. I was meaning only to tell that I don't fit in there.
Okay.
That's all. But it has nothing to do with things like this bloody thing that are there complicated between people.
Okay. No, I don't force you to be something you are not. If you don't find this, and of course, to see it immediately is.
I would like to speak about something on hearing, because it's not my field, I know. I would like to say something, because I told you that their music, I can't connect to. It doesn't play to my heart, it plays to my irritation, and it feels bad to my ears. That's it. I want to get away from it, close it down.
Indian music or something.
Well, you know, jazz on that level.
Yes, you're right. Jazz is not so bad. But
then I told you about this Koppler, Benjamin Koppler, which did this and had the aim in his life to make everybody like jazz music. And for me, this was astonishing discovery, that he could lead me to like jazz music. That he could find in me a thread which I could continue with into his music. And we came to this music with this jazz, making all these sounds and everything, and it was beautiful.
Yes, you see, there are different experiences. And in the Dead concert, which you have fled, there was another lady, and she was from Holland. And she can't stand classical music. And she switches it off. As soon as she hears classical music, she switches off the radio because it gives her on the nerves. Now, she discovered, and I can feel with her because I do the same. I can't stand classical music. So, and her experience was exactly the opposite of yours. She said, wow, I did not know that music can be played like this. And she came to 3 concerts. She said, when will you play next? You have to call me because I want to listen. So these are all personal experiences in time that are clad in time and space. And we don't know why they appear. And they have their reason to be there. That's all. And it is good that you did go away, because it might have been disturbing.
Yes, but isn't it so that they find something essential, which I don't know what is, since I'm not a musician myself. You found something essential. This Koppler found something essential. I don't know how you do it, where it comes from, and what connection you create in me doing it. And for me, this is what I would like to learn. I would like to learn to like every sound in the world.
Yeah, this is the next thing that we have in mind. So what we want to do, it is to have this kind of experience over 3 months, twice a week, with those who are interested in Auroville. And it is not only music, but it is this therapy or body awareness. I would like also to get Aloka interested. I don't know if she will agree. But like this, we would have a stand in Auroville, like it would become real something, some kind of movement which unites us and which would make the point that all that we are talking about, what Vladimir was talking about, the Vedas and all these approaches, and even linguistic approach, where we then could actually have a real interaction. Because until now, for 10 years, Vladimir and Rod had not known what I was doing. I'm talking about it, but this doesn't make a real significant thing. So I can scream my head out, but it won't do anything good. That's why, yes, tell me.
It sounds totally meaningful what you are saying. It's not that it doesn't sound meaningful or something, but what you say that we do not know what you're doing. We know what you're doing. Why do you say that we don't? We know.
Because we don't. We have no idea.
Okay.
I would like to know how music can create unity. That was what I was thinking when I heard you would be a part of this. What is it in music that changes something in me to such an extent that it can have this impact? How can I
Okay.
connect? How can I connect to music in such a way? And how can music find me? I think it must be mutual. There's something behind the music, behind the sound. There's something behind the words. There's something
Yeah,
behind the seeing.
yeah. You see, the thing is that we are speaking with Navni about it, with this girl. Vladimir also knows, and she comes to class actually since 1 year. So if I speak, it sounds like propaganda, you know. That this and this happens and this and this happens. It is like, okay, he is there 50 years and he is speaking like that. No, you have to speak to someone who makes the experience actually, who has started learning it, and what is his experience in this uniting kind of thing. Now, on behalf, shortly said, of that what comes out as sound, you hear way beyond sound, as you said rightly. You hear the movement of the psyche. You hear the movement of the psychology, which are not that what they should be, because they disturb major the form of the information that comes from the very sound. Now, once you start reflecting yourself in your psychology at the very moment, then come out the ghosts. The ghosts which were always there, but you didn't know that they were there. And suddenly you have the possibility to deal with them and to tell them, hey, shut up. Okay. You reorient your consciousness towards other things, and those ghosts, they cannot influence anymore. They don't have such a strong hold on your action. But they have. If you read Bergson, and he says, for example, that consciousness is basically memory. Yeah, you have to switch
This
it on.
is interesting. This is interesting because today I was walking around with my grandson on my arm, and we were listening to a program on television where people were wishing different songs, you know, from the past. And one old lady was calling in. She wanted to hear a song which reminded her of her husband. And I was listening to this music, and I also realized that when this woman was wishing this music because it gave her such a good memory about her husband, I listened to this music as a woman remembering her husband, and I could feel in my heart this memory. So there is a connection between us, I think, as human beings and music, which music can carry. Music can carry us together in a way which is, to me, a surprise.
Yes, there is also the memory of the light that we have from our last death experience. And this memory of the light we carry still within us, and it makes us move. And in Rhodes' words, what it is the divine will. This is the light that we carry within. And by the divine will, we cannot stop being. And we have to move, and our consciousness has to dwell and has to do whatever she can to bring forward from one moment to the next. On behalf of what? And this is the light on behalf of which we are being moved forward to our destiny, which is the light's destiny in ourselves. And you can, in music, you can, because you can reorient at will your consciousness, because we have a mind. So you can reorient your consciousness to that light within that sound, and you will be able to perceive it after some time. And you will see that it is not so difficult to perceive it. But this needs experience, because as soon as it is words, it doesn't make any union. But once you're united with another being and you see that light coming out of his expression, out of his vibration, then you say, yes, 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 this is that. Yeah? And there is a joy, a kind of joy of uniting these two things, even if it is in the beginning only sparkling whites. These are sparks, and the thing at the end will be that we live in this constant light.
This is also what I can, when I connected to this music today, I tried to stay with it. And I realized that you can actually stay with what it brings to you of this love, which I could perceive through this music. It can stay with you. You can keep it within, so to say, this connection. So I was wondering whether this connection, if you keep this connection music brings to you, it connects you. And then if you can keep it, it stays. But most of us, we don't keep it, we leave it for other feelings, so to say, or other influences coming and going. So I'm here to collect this, so to say, to connect to this light, which is given to me, available everywhere, until it's so lit up that I can see.
You see, Lina, she has a constant musical memory. Because she doesn't want to think, so she replaces her thoughts by music, and she is much better. She should have been a musician, and I should have been something else, a gardener or a cook or God knows what, because it is a paradox. She remembers one time the play, the piece has been played, and she has it all from beginning to the end. I don't have it. We went to this Lucille, she has had her students playing on Monday. And then she comes to me and she says, but do you know this girl, she was playing this song and she started na 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 from her memory. And I said, but what the hell are you talking about? And it stays with her and she can just take it out at will. Mm-hmm. I am extremely jealous because she can do that. So this is also something beautiful, and that's why I wish that this thing becomes real next year, that we can have these sessions. And I am reading at the moment this fantastic book, which is called Life and Consciousness. It is about mind energy, Bergson. And it gives us a lot of clues of what is happening. And I am preparing a kind of thing to explain what is happening in music on terms of his philosophical approach, even though I don't think that it is such a philosophical approach. He just sees reality how it is, and what is the link of matter and mind, and what is consciousness doing from his point of view. And I think it is a very fair exercise to present music in this way.
Yes, because I agree.
I don't think that many people do that they see on behalf of a philosophical work your immediate action in this musical activity, which can be then traced. And this is that what I pursue. It is to try to give a kind of frame where we can understand things together, and we understand the same thing. Mm-hmm. And once we understand the same thing, there is no discord between us. We just look at something and we just agree. And on the contrary, we fulfill each other, because he said, if I see, for example, you guys commenting on something, then I'm interested and say, wow, they so look at it like this. It's fantastic. And music, as such, has not had this role to play in society, because the musicians were too stupid. And they were too closed in their musicality and music making to consider philosophy as a kind of valid approach to their expression. And that's why musicians were a kind of clowns, which were left aside of society, just for the jolly being of, yeah, let's be happy, yes, let's have some music. So it has gone into kind of oblivious situation as importance. It is a kind of like a nice vase, like something to embellish your life, not something profound. I don't know if you agree, but I may be too extreme in that what I say.
Well, I was thinking that whatever expression is here has many qualities, and we can speak them, and from the words we have an idea of what they are. But in music, you don't have the same understanding. If you play to me some music, it is a lot of different not attitudes, but it is bringing something to me which I receive. If you knew as a musician what exactly you're bringing whenever you played, it would be really interesting. How pure can we become, and how, yeah, I don't know how to express, since I don't have this approach.
Yeah, you see, I met musicians after a concert, and quite some that come from to Auroville, no? And their comment was a kind of strange thing, but we don't play it in this way. Or you have a funny way to play it. This is their understanding of music. So if it tastes like hamburger, they will accept, aha, this is hamburger, fine. And there seems to be for them a kind of recipe which makes them understand that they are kind of the same, in the same kind of way of doing things. And they are right. But this approach, if it is under light of philosophy or of the philosophy of Vedanta, then you discover that their music is not complete at all. It is based just on some kind of instinct and some kind of development of automatisms. And Bergson says about automatisms, it is fantastic to read it because it is true, that automatisms, the process of doing things comes to such a way of adaptation and perfection that it doesn't need consciousness anymore. The effort to arrive there needs consciousness, but once you have it, it doesn't need to have to be conscious anymore. So, technically speaking, the touch with the body is no more conscious. What becomes then conscious, it is you're indulging in it emotionally. But it is not enough. It is not enough because it doesn't fit in a kind of holistic way all that what is being expressed, like your pressure, your speed, your all this kind of thing of which sound consists, the rhythm. So everything is a kind of, if you see it under that light, then you will see there is no vision in sound, there is no direction in sound. But this is what makes the sound conscious. So it becomes interesting, and if you then start doing it, you discover that it is not something difficult to do. But it needs another approach. And that's why I'm very grateful to these philosophers and to your husband who brought me this approach near, you know. And I will never forget this.
But how would you see that musical approach to this vision of the international zone in Orville, that all the nations will bring their sounds, their musics, their songs, their melodies, their, these expressions, musical expressions to the center? What would it be? What would it do?
Okay, I have one possibility, only one I saw, and this is my personal experience. I was playing after 50 years, again in my country of birth, Slovakia. And I went there last year. And chance had it that I had a violin with me, and in that village where my people were sort of at home, they still live, a great part of my family, and they convinced the priest that I would play a concert. And before that, we said, okay, let's go to the Mass in the morning. It was Sunday morning, so we went to the Mass. And I was listening to the choir of these ladies that were singing. And then I discovered, oh my God, but they sing in the same way I play. I was thinking I was so extraordinary, you know. I was the unique one, the only one to play in this way. Then I go to the Mass and I discover that these ladies that were singing the same way as I did.
Mm-hmm.
But I left the country 40 years ago, so how can it be that I feel that? And actually what I felt was this soul, which we have in common.
Mm-hmm.
And this was very comforting, because it was like, aha, okay, this is it. This is what brings inside of that this touch of that kind of part. Because I didn't hear Slovak people playing music since then.
Mm-hmm.
But suddenly when I heard them, I heard the soul of the nation.
Mm-hmm.
So each individual that would come would bring the soul of the nation, knowingly or not knowingly. But it would not be a conscious thing. It would be just a soul as a body is there, you know?
Very nice.
So, but there is no discussion about that, or there is not a kind of thing that you can that you could approach like a kind of research, and it is just the presence.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, dear friends, I am very happy that we finished like this in oneness and love and everything.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so see you then next time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you, love.